KPBS app.
Tonight on Newswatch, the city of Nelsonville decides who will provide its electricity. Plus,
inflation could keep coming down in the coming months.
A new jobs report shows promising signs.
And we are live as one of the largest craft beer festivals in the state is right here in Athens. Newswatch starts right now.
Nelsonville is moving forward with one electricity provider. Good evening, I'm Haley Hollinger and welcome to Newswatch. According to Acting City Manager Devin Tolliver, during last night's special City Council meeting, officials decided to go with the contract the city signed with AEP in 2021. The other active contract with the city with Freepoint Energy Solutions, signed by a different city manager in May, still needs to be canceled. Cancellation could come with a fee, potentially running $14,000. City Auditor Taylor Sappington says the fees could be waived, but could come out of the city's general fund or from the bond of former city manager Bernie Roll, who signed the Freepoint contract. Councilman Corey Taylor says it's not up to them to determine if this contract was signed with negligence.
It would be up to, if we called the insurance company and looked at his bond, then they would be the ones that would have to determine that. And it doesn't mean that he intentionally did it. It just means that we didn't do necessarily due diligence.
WOUB has requested a copy of Roll's bond, but it has yet to be received. The Chillicothe Police Department is still on the lookout for a man who allegedly shot and killed a 30-year-old man. The suspect fled the scene on a motorcycle and was able to evade law enforcement after crashing and fleeing on foot. The victim, identified as Joseph Pollock, who discovered injured in front of a home at 189 East 4th Street in Chillicothe. Pollock was transported to the Appalachian Regional Medical Center, where he later died from his injuries. An investigation into the incident is ongoing. Norfolk Southern Railway Company is placing blame on unmaintained rail cars for the hazardous derailment in East Palestine earlier this year. In a lawsuit, Norfolk Southern says Oxyvinyl's LP GATX Corporation, General American Marks Company, Trinity Industries Leasing Company, SMBC Rail Services LLC, Dow Chemical Incorporated, and Union Tank Car Company caused the fiery derailment because they failed to properly maintain the cars years before the crash. Norfolk Southern says because they are at blame as well, they must help pay for recovery efforts. The company that shipped the chemicals, Oxyvinyls, said this could have been prevented if Norfolk Southern listened to its experts who believed the vinyl chloride remained stable. A levy to help fund improvement projects to schools in Belpre will not appear on the ballot this November. According to Superintendent Jeff Greenlee, the Board of Education did not get the information it needed from the state to make a bond levy request in time. He says the district is facing significant deferred maintenance costs with a projected $20 million in the next 10 years. This is not the first time the Belpre School District has put up such a levy. A similar bond levy on previous ballots has failed 10 times. The Outdoor Recreation Council of Appalachia is adding Jackson County to its outdoor tourism promotion roster through a new partnership. Jackson County is partnering with the Athens-based group to develop and promote outdoor tourism in the county. According to County Commissioner Paul Haller, outdoor tourism can have a huge economic impact in local communities if done the right way. Outdoor Recreation Council of Appalachia has already helped several Southeast Ohio communities develop outdoor tourism from both a strategic and financial standpoint. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announces the second wave of art grants through the Ohio Arts Economic Relief Grant Program. The grants total in over $20 million for over 33 counties in the state, including some in Southeast Ohio. In Athens County, the Dairy Barn, the OU Performing Arts Concert Series, and Paper Circle. And in Lancaster, the Ohio Glass Museum and the Lancaster Music Festival will all be receiving grants. Also receiving a grant is People's Bank Theater in Marietta. Executive Director of the People's Bank Theater, Hunt Brawley, says they're thrilled to receive a grant.
We're still crawling out of the hole like a lot of folks.
in a year and a half, I think, yeah, we lost, it was over $1 million in lost revenue for us. So it's a huge shot in the arm, and yeah, we're looking forward to putting it to good use, strengthening the operations here, and moving forward.
The grants will help with employee compensation, rent or mortgage payments, and operating costs. The American Red Cross is wrapping up what they are saying was a successful blood drive here at Ohio University's campus. Up to 50 donors crowded into the Baker Center from noon to 6 p.m. to donate either blood or red blood cells. In response to last year's record shortage, this event is what officials call a, quote, supervisor drive, end quote, which means they can hold a higher capacity. Donors were also given fun incentives, free tickets to their theme park of choice, Cedar Point or Kings Island. Facilitators say they had so many donators, they ran out of physical tickets.
Good evening and happy Friday. I hope everyone's had a wonderful week this week. Now it's been pretty hot and muggy out so far. We've seen record temperatures across the U.S. as well as across the globe, and we unfortunately are not going to escape this heat anytime soon. Right now it's about 88 outside, and we're starting to see clouds clear out after we've had this low pressure and cold front move through within the past 24 hours, bringing a little bit of rain yesterday, but mostly cloud coverage for a good portion of the day today. But now things are starting to clear out as we have some high pressure moving in just to the west of us that will be pushing in towards the east. So we're not really expecting to see too many clouds going forward. Now with that high pressure brought in a lot of those clearing clouds and brought in a lot more heat. So we saw temperatures yesterday in the mid 80s, overnight drop down to 60s, but right now we're seeing consistently in southeast Ohio in the mid to upper 80s. So it is pretty warm outside, and tonight we'll see partly cloudy skies with a low of 62. Now we're expecting some rain this weekend, so be sure to stay tuned for my full forecast where we're going to talk about when you can expect that to occur. Back over to you, Haley.
Thanks, Emily. One of the largest celebrations of Ohio craft beer kicks off today in Athens. And joining us live from the event is Newswatch reporter Ariel Lyons. Ariel?
Thanks, Haley. First Call kicks off Brew Week with this Court Street takeover. There are over 300 brews available, and this is a Dora event, so you can enjoy it outside. Music by Moochie Nochi and DJ Bardicus will be here outside Hangover Easy until 9:30 p.m. I'm here with Brew Week director Brandon Thompson to get to know a little more about Brew Week. Brandon, how does it feel for Brew Week to be back?
Oh, it feels awesome. This is something we work on all year long. Last year was our first year we had last call. We were outside and able to have people on the street and everything like that because of COVID. This feels like normal Brew Week. Last year we weren't sure how it was going to be since it's been so many years since we've done everything. This year, we knew what's going on. It's our first year doing First Call in this space, and a bunch of families and kids and people are here, and it's awesome. So,
what can we expect from this year's iteration?
If you've never been to Brew Week, shame on you. This is our 18th year, but we have over 300 craft brews. So there's hard seltzers, craft beer, wines, meads, all types of different stuff. That's all on our website. Right now, I think we're up to maybe 50 different events that people are putting on all of our spaces. We have about 30 venues. So all the bars up here in Court Street, all of our breweries, so Devil's Kettle, Cider House, they'll be involved. But also a lot of people see Brew Week as last call. So that's when we close down this section of street and that street down there. We have music all day, so that'll be from 1 o'clock until 11. We'll have about, I think, 22 breweries. They'll be pouring beer, and it's totally free. That's what most people associate with Brew Week. But also there's 8 other days where there's stuff going on. So you go to all these different places. There's spelling bees. I'm trying to think what else. There's drunk spelling bees. There's Copperhead games going on, I think 7 times this week or something like that. So there's a bunch of those games. Get Homer's Hazy. There's a lot of stuff, even if you don't like craft brews. If there's fun stuff like right here, there's a bunch of kids up here just playing around. And that's what I love about Brew Week. Everybody can be involved. If you're not into craft beer, totally cool. We've got other stuff. If you want to come and dance, come and dance. If you want to do spelling bees, do spelling bees. It's all part of Brew Week. So.
All right, thank you so much, Brandon. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have today.
I appreciate your time, though.
Thank you so much. Like he said, Brew Week has events all over Athens, ending with Final Call next Saturday. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Ariel Lyons, live in Athens.
Thanks, Ariel. Looks like fun. The annual Marietta Riverfront Roar begins today, and with that comes food, music, games, and Marietta's annual boat race on the Ohio River. To kick off the event tonight, there is a concert series outside of the Lafayette Hotel with the surrounding streets lined with food and snack vendors. Starting tomorrow morning, powerboats will be racing up and down the Ohio River along the Marietta riverfront. According to the festival board, last year brought in a record amount of visitors, over 35,000. Rick Smith, chair member of the Riverfront Roar, says not only is the event fun for everybody, but it really helps out local businesses.
The bars and the restaurants and the hotels and local businesses really use this weekend to drive their own revenue, and it's really helping the local economy.
Funded by several local businesses, the festival is set to continue from this evening into Sunday night. Guests can view the boat races for free along the Marietta Riverside. Coming up after the break, the U.S. economy sees steady but slower job growth to start the summer. Plus, a new military aid package from the U.S. to Ukraine includes controversial equipment.
We are in for a hot Saturday and a rainy Sunday. Stay tuned when Newswatch returns.
What would you want people to know about your story?
The spiritual connection to life. It allows us to empower ourselves.
We have to not be afraid.
The least that I could do is to fight. Anything is possible. It's joyful.
It was this incredible sense of belonging.
Finally, I wasn't alone.
On Finding Your Roots, Angelica Houston.
No idea that she was living this kind of life.
Mia Farrow.
It's much worse than I thought it would be.
And Isabella Rossellini.
She always said that she didn't want to have roots.
Ancestry uncovers a painful past.
I see why my father never mentioned his father now.
As DNA reveals.
You want to meet this person?
A surprise.
That's hysterical.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
There are hundreds of historical monuments across America.
It represents determination, commitment to the future.
These markers are one way a nation tells its story.
For us, the eagle is more than just a symbol. It's a relative.
But how we perceive them changes over time.
What it's supposed to symbolize is the abolition of slavery.
I would love for the whole story to be told about Stone Mountain.
Iconic America. New episode July 11th on PBS and the PBS app.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
This summer.
Welcome back for a second seasoning. This really is about a connection to home for me.
One species is reshaping the world.
This is like being in a candy store for me.
I think the things that unify people in the South are the same things that unify all people.
Cheers.
The U.S. labor market grew at a slower rate than expected pace in June, giving economists optimism that the Federal Reserve could stick a soft landing on lowering inflation without sending the economy into a recession. Karen Kaifa has the details from Washington.
The U.S. jobs market starting summer with a cool down.
Not too hot, not too cold. I think it's exactly what the Federal Reserve would be looking for.
The Labor Department said Friday that U.S. employers added 209,000 jobs in June, a drop from May's hot pace of 306,000, and missing economists' expectations, but giving hope that the U.S. will dodge a recession amid the Federal Reserve's efforts to stem inflation.
The data, the Bureau of Labor Statistics data, I think are consistent with where the Fed wants to see the economy going.
The June numbers mark 30 consecutive months of job growth for the U.S. economy. The unemployment rate ticked down to 3.6%, the Biden administration touting another streak.
We've had 17 straight months of an unemployment rate that is under 4%. We haven't seen that since the 1960s.
Many economists think the U.S. is on track for a soft landing, with higher interest rates curbing inflation but not tipping the U.S. economy into a recession.
It definitely is starting to look more likely. Inflation is coming down quite meaningfully, and wage growth has been moderating steadily, and that suggests that inflation could keep coming down in the coming months.
After a pause on its aggressive rate hiking campaign in June, the Federal Reserve will make its next decision on interest rates on July 26th. In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Farmers who believe they face discrimination from the Department of Agriculture can now seek financial relief from a new program. They need to fill out an application and show they've received unfair treatment from USDA lending programs before 2021. The maximum payout is $500,000, but a department official says applicants are unlikely to receive that much. The program is for farmers, forest landowners, and ranchers, and it covers a list of potential discrimination categories. Payments could arrive sometime next year, according to the department. Funding for the program comes from last year's Inflation Reduction Act.
Good evening and happy Friday. It was a hot one today. Right now it's about 88 outside and we're starting to see skies clear up a little bit. And overall for Southeast Ohio, we had temperatures at a high of 86, so pretty similar to what we're seeing now, and we're seeing those mostly sunny skies. Now those clouds were from a low pressure system and a cold front that is now pushing towards the east. It brought us a little bit of rain yesterday, but things are starting to clear up as we have some high pressure starting to move in towards Ohio, and that's pushing those clouds away and allowing for a lot of sunshine to come in and just warm everything up. Now tonight we're expecting a low of about 62 with partly cloudy skies. Those cloudy skies will start clearing up right about now and into the rest of the evening overnight, leaving us with a very nice sunny day tomorrow. We'll have another really hot day. It'll be about 88 outside. That heat index may be a little bit higher. And even though we're seeing a 40% chance of thunderstorms, that's just going to be in the evening. So our UV index is still going to be about an 8 or about a 9 around 2 p.m. So if you're going to be outside enjoying this Saturday, make sure you're drinking plenty of water, wearing plenty of sunscreen, and taking frequent breaks in the shade or going inside to check in and make sure you and your friends and family are doing all right. Now, the UV index is typically at its highest between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. So if you're outside at any of those times, make sure you're wearing plenty of sunscreen, and that's even going to carry on into the evening, so that sun will still be pretty relevant. Now tomorrow evening, that's when we're going to see our thunderstorm risk start to pop up. We'll be under a general thunderstorm area with a marginal risk over to the west, since the system will be moving in from the west to the east. We have a low pressure system developing around Illinois tomorrow, and that'll have a warm front attached to it out front with a cold front trailing behind it. Now what happens is we have warm air in front, and that gets really buoyant and attracts a lot of moisture. So when that air starts to rise up, it starts to accumulate into clouds. And then when we have cold air following right behind it, this cooler air is moving a lot faster and is more dense. So when it meets up to this warm air, it creates a lot of instability in the atmosphere and forces that warm air to rapidly rise, creating those cumulonimbus or those storm clouds that we all see with those thunderstorms. And so we'll be seeing a line of thunderstorms along this cold front moving in tomorrow night, mainly on Sunday. We'll also see a little bit of rain going forward as well. So there'll be a little bit of rain right behind this cold front, and we're expecting more of that rain to come in on Sunday. So Saturday night we'll have 40% chance of thunderstorms, another hot day. Sunday we're looking at a 70% chance of showers with a high of 79. So things will drop down a little bit since we had that cold front move through. But by Monday, things are starting to warm up again, and looks like it's going to be a nice sunny week for a good part of the week, and it is going to be another hot week. We were looking at the mid to upper 80s Monday through Wednesday. So if you haven't gotten the chance to go outside and go to the pool yet, it's looking like a great week to do that. And our overnight temperatures will be in the mid to lower 60s. But by the end of the week, we're looking at a 40% chance of showers, but that is still too far out to tell just quite yet. So have a great weekend, everybody. Back over to you, Haley.
Thanks, Emily. Highly lethal weapons will be included in a Biden administration military aid package to Ukraine, unveiled this afternoon. Laura Geary with more on the package and what this could mean for the future of the conflict.
Controversial cluster munitions are banned by over 100 countries, but Russia and the United States are not among them. And now the U.S. will send stockpiled cluster munitions to Ukraine.
We base our security assistance decision on Ukraine's needs on the ground. We will not leave Ukraine defenseless at any point in this conflict, period.
Here's what makes cluster munitions so deadly. The initial shell can be dropped from a plane or fired from the ground. It then opens, releasing up to hundreds of smaller bombs. The Red Cross estimates up to 40% of those smaller bombs are duds, landing unexploded on the ground, where they can pose a lethal risk to innocent civilians for years.
The ones that we are considering providing would not include older variants with dud rates that are higher than 2.35%.
If you even go with the 3 to 5% dud rates that I've experienced personally, that's about 4 or 5 small grenades per round times 100,000, you're talking about close to 500,000, and that's a conservative estimate.
There is also a massive risk of civilian harm if Russian troops and tanks roll over Ukrainian positions and take more Ukrainian territory and subjugate more Ukrainian civilians because Ukraine does not have enough artillery. That is intolerable to us.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Laura Aguirre.
The U.S. had been previously reluctant to provide them because of the risk they could pose to civilians, and because some key U.S. allies are signatories on the cluster munitions ban. After the break, the Food and Drug Administration approves a new drug to help fight Alzheimer's. And to stay up to date on the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
I was on a kayak whale watching trip in California when this happened. A humpback whale breached on top of us.
How can you get that close to something that big and not die?
I was drawn into a much bigger story. There were other close encounters with whales.
I became obsessed with whales, and that's where the detective work starts.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
A frozen desert world, but once blue with water, and perhaps more?
What everybody wants to know is whether or not Mars once had life.
And if it still survives today.
Finding the organic matter is the clue to searching for life.
The planets, Mars, on Nova.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Welcome to the age of humans.
Do you think being a biologist makes you a better hunter?
I think it goes both ways.
We've got to have a way to keep this a shared landscape. 2 to 3 million whales were killed.
The pursuit of this wild duck connects people to past generations. We feed ourselves, and we feed our family, and we feed our culture.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
On Finding Your Roots, Angelica Houston.
No idea that she was living this kind of life.
Mia Farrow.
It's much worse than I thought it would be.
And Isabella Rossellini.
She always said that she didn't want to have roots.
Ancestry uncovers a painful past.
I see why my father never mentioned his father now.
As DNA reveals.
You want to meet this person?
A surprise.
That's hysterical.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
For the first time ever, the FDA has granted full approval to a drug proven to slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease. The move is seen as a major breakthrough in the fight against the devastating condition that affects millions and is marked by memory loss, cognitive decline, and behavioral changes. Mike Valerio has the latest on this significant medical development.
It's official. The first drug shown in trials to slow the progression of Alzheimer's now has full FDA approval, and infusion centers are gearing up for an anticipated surge in new patients.
In certain areas, I anticipate we will receive probably at least 15 to 20% more patient referrals for this drug.
The drug, called Leqembi, is administered through IV infusion once every 2 weeks. Thursday's full traditional FDA approval means the drug is now available for coverage by Medicare. Leqembi has been available under accelerated FDA approval since January, but at a cost of more than $26,000 a year before insurance, many patients couldn't access or afford it.
You had this treatment at your fingertips, and suddenly you had Medicare saying, yeah, but you can't quite get access to that at this point in time.
A large trial funded by the drug's makers found Leqembi slowed the progression of the disease by about 27%. Leqembi targets a specific protein that forms plaques in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. The drug does carry some risks. About 13% of patients receiving the drug in its trial had brain swelling, and 17% had brain bleeding, compared with 9% in the placebo group. And while experts agree the drug is a major turning point, they also warn Leqembi is not a cure and was only tried in people with early Alzheimer's disease.
People who are moderate or severe, we would not know whether this drug was efficacious, and we would not even know whether it was safe.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
When we return, better get some stamps. Stamp prices are rising over the weekend. But first, here's a look at what's coming up on your public television station.
On Finding Your Roots, Angelica Houston.
No idea that she was living this kind of life.
Mia Farrow.
It's much worse than I thought it would be.
And Isabella Rossellini.
She always said that she didn't want to have roots.
Ancestry uncovers a painful past.
I see why my father never mentioned his father now.
As DNA reveals.
You want to meet this person?
A surprise.
That's hysterical.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Will, this changes everything.
No, that's every blues singer in the country was doing that.
In the 1960s, hip-hop became our voice.
Draw your arrow to the head!
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, this is Irene. Irene's grandfather made this violin.
He was highly regarded. He worked for the top players of that time. Holy Hannah, wowzer. Shut the front door, girl. Are you serious?
Does this musical heirloom tug at your heartstrings? Watch next time on Antiques Roadshow from Omaha, Nebraska.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
There are hundreds of historical monuments across America.
It represents determination, commitment to the future.
These markers are one way a nation tells its story.
For us, the eagle is more than just a symbol. It's a relative.
But how we perceive them changes over time.
What it's supposed to symbolize is the abolition of slavery.
I would love for the whole story to be told about Stone Mountain.
Iconic America. New episode July 11th on PBS and the PBS app.
Finally, tonight, go and get some stamps. Just 2 more days to grab stamps before the prices rise. Starting in July 9th, first-class stamps will cost 66 cents, up from 63. The Postal Service says the increase is necessary to offset rising operating expenses. The agency expects to lose $4.5 billion this year. And Emily, even though 3 cents isn't that much, it's never fun to pay more for things.
Oh, for sure. But I remember being a little kid and always getting letters from my grandma, and that was always super fun for me. So hopefully the stamp prices don't affect people too much, because getting letters is always fun.
So yeah, with everything going on this weekend, what can we expect for weather?
Yeah, as you heard, tonight's Brew Week, or I guess tonight kicks off Brew Week, and we're going to expect some good weather for that. Tonight we're going to see partly cloudy skies with a low of 62, and those clouds will start to go away a little bit within the next hour or so if they are not already starting to clear. And tomorrow we'll see a high of 88, so it will be another hot day tomorrow. We actually have some high pressure sitting over the Ohio area right now, and that's going to help clear out a lot of those clouds and allow for a lot of that sunshine to come in and really warm everything up. And you're seeing that 40% chance of thunderstorms possible, but that's mainly going to be in the evening times. So Saturday night, we're going to about 5 o'clock, we'll start to see some storm clouds roll in a little bit, and that's going to be from that low pressure and that cold front attached to it. So we also have warm air right in front of that cold front, and with that cold front moving in, it's going to cause that moist, warm air to rapidly rise, creating those storm clouds that we see. We're also going to see a little bit of rain associated with that behind the cold front. So Saturday night, mainly in the evening hours, is when those thunderstorms will start to go, but Sunday, that's when we'll see on Sunday morning, that's when we'll see this thunderstorms start to break and just a steady rainfall for a good portion of the day. And around noontime, those ones start to let up, but we're going to see a little bit of a drop in temperature. We'll actually be in the upper 70s, and starting off next week, it will be nice and sunny.
Well, thanks, Emily. That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Emily Dietz, I'm Haley Hollinger. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime on WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
This summer.
Welcome back for a second seasoning. This really is about a connection to home for me.
One species is reshaping the world.
This is like being in a candy store for me.
the things that unify people in the South are the same things that unify all people.